Now I found truth. It's alright. I've been lied to my whole life. Now I found truth. It's alright. I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. I've been lied to my whole life. Now I found truth. It's alright. I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. All I know is hustle, 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 hustle. Hard. All I know is hustle, hustle. Ooh, Lord. All I know is hustle, 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 hustle. Hard. All I know is hustle, hustle. Ooh, Lord, yeah. Ooh, Lord, yeah. Ooh, Lord, yeah. 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 Been lied to my whole life and I'm sick and tired of this shit. I'm sick and tired of this shit. Been lied to my whole life and I'm sick and tired of this shit. Somebody sick and tired of this shit. Hey, since day one they lied to us and we wasn't shit but slaves. But I found out what I found out, it was right there in my face. The preacher man, he lied. My mama, daddy didn't know, so I'm boxed in by lies. How the fuck I'm ever gonna grow? Hey, when the night falls and the lights out, you be reaching for some help. But when the real shit is bullshit, you be reaching for what's left. None of the lies gonna make it, you can read it for yourself. Here's the truth, you can't fake it, you need to find it for yourself. Nah, and nah, and nah. Oh, 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 I've been lied to my whole life. Now I found truth. It's alright. I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. I've been lied to my whole life. Now I found truth. It's alright. I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. All I know is hustle, 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 hustle. Hard. All I know is hustle, hustle. Ooh, Lord. All I know is hustle, 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 hustle. Hard. All I know is hustle, hustle. Ooh, Lord, yeah. Ooh, Lord, yeah. Ooh, Lord, yeah. 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 Been lied to my whole life and I'm sick and tired of this shit. I'm sick and tired of this shit. Been lied to my whole life and I'm sick and tired of this shit. Somebody sick and tired of this shit. Fuck wrong with you, boy? You know what time it is, nigga. Better watch how you step in. Yeah. But that was my niggas. Yeah. I'm in it, yo. Got my nigga Ramon with me. But that was my niggas, it'll be an honor. You know what I'm saying? Under commanding General YAHANNA. That for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Look. Hey, straight off the top, I love all of my niggas. That shit ain't gon' stop till we on top and we ballin', my nigga. We be fly as fuck, you know them bitches be stalking my niggas. That shit'll never change and it's the same with all my niggas. City to city, I should be at home. That's what my ribs say. But bitch, I'm grown. I'm in these streets and closed caption. Niggas know we bout that action. If a nigga play with me, then my Hakim gon' let him have it. Hey, make you the shit, this truth the shit. Nigga play, I let that Ruger hit. Get on them tracks, they be like, who is this? I'm rude with it. Ain't got no manners. All them pussy niggas talking shit. Y'all know they can't stand us, but we U.P.K, Louisiana, bitch, that's what I'm reppin'. And my niggas solid number, real ones in my section. If you wanna get down, put your boots on, start stepping. Brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood I lay my life down right now for all my sisters and brothers, because I love them. I see them dapping and hug them. It's amazing to see how well we adapt from the struggle. Born again from a life of sin, trapped in the gutter. My mind frame was to kill my own kind. Feeling inferior, waking up ready to die. Run with them killers, so it's just a matter of time. For I take your life or let you take mine. That's when I realized the slaves killing slaves while the white man live to get old. We in them graves, the shit got me feeling played. I opened the Bible, went through them records, found out we was royalty, a nation to be respected. But in this world we rejected, we hated for our complexion. Still fighting to get accepted. We hear the truth and reject it, but love is getting corrected. And all my niggas correct me. The commandments, the foundation we erected. Brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood is a weapon. Hey, hey. Hey, hey.
Check, check, Most High in Christ. All right, clap it up. Shalom, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah Barakatah. To all my brothers, Yahweh Shamar Alatha Bahashim Yahweh Shah. To all of my sisters, I'm priest and officer of 1,000, Bon Kayal, coming out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. And we are the Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge. And we are coming out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under the operational direction of Commanding General YAHANNA, all right? And tonight's Monday night, we're going into the history. You know, in the I.S.U.P.K, we teach the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth about the Bible to God's chosen, the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. So if you are Black, if you are Hispanic, if you are Native Indian, this class is for you, all right? You're going to learn about our history. History is very, very important. What are some of the things that we know about history? What are some things that we know about history? Well, what are some things that are taught to us about our history here in the Americas? Go ahead, young man Reggie.
When I was coming up, they didn't really say too much about our race and stuff, but I always gave the credit to Christopher Columbus and other people.
Right. Most get our brother a hand. He's absolutely right. And in the spirit, obviously, today is supposedly the former Columbus Day. Today, they're acknowledging it as Indigenous Peoples Day. But because of oppression, you know, I am mad. I'm a wise man. That's what the Bible says. Oppression, or surely oppression maketh the wise man mad, and the gift destroyeth the heart, okay? You can find that in the Bible. And the beautiful thing about that is, like, I recognize, you know, all the oppression that our people have endured since coming off those slave ships, since before going onto the slave ships, since being exiled from Jerusalem, since having to live in the wilderness, you know. That oppression, it's pissed me off. And when you learn about the truth of what happened to your people and the reason why you don't have a land, the reason why you don't carry the last name or the name of your forefathers, being Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, has everything to do with oppression, has everything to do with those Indian killing heroes or conquistadors like Christopher Columbus, all right? Don't be deceived by the oppressor. Do not be beguiled into believing that him changing Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day is a good thing. You know, that is a gift that is going to destroy your heart or your mind, okay? America will forever be about the oppression of so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. America cannot be America without you being on the bottom, Black man. You being on the bottom, filling up the prisons, you living in the ghetto, or you picking produce out of his fields, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, you not being able to get clean water to your Navajo reservation. That's what America is about. That's what's always defined America. And we're going to get into the origin of, you know, the hatred, the vitriolic hatred that the oppressor has for us, you know, through this period called the Spanish Inquisition, okay? So, like I said, we're talking about the truth about the Most High Power only loving Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, the fact that Jesus Christ is a Black man from the tribe of Judah, the fact that you ain't supposed to be eating no pork, no shrimp, no crab, no lobster, not celebrating your birthday or any other holidays of the oppressor. You know, those are the truths that you learn when you come into the I.S.U.P.K under Commanding General YAHANNA. Nowhere else on the earth are these truths about the Bible being taught. We teach the Bible in its complete form. So you get the Old Testament, you get the Apocrypha, or the books that were removed, the hidden books, and you get the New Testament, okay? We truly follow Christ in the example that he set. Commanding General YAHANNA follows Christ. That's the reason why it's easy for me to say Khan of the One Khan, the Officer Zion, or Captain I.S.U.P.K, because these men follow righteous men. They follow the rank and order structure that was established way back when, that our forefathers adhered to. But you're not going to learn about that in the Christian church, because the church don't teach about the Lord being a man of war. They teach that God is good all the time. They don't teach that, you know, life is war. And as good soldiers, we're supposed to go to war, man. You can't have the spirit of pacifism on you living this life. You're going to be eaten up and destroyed, okay? All right. If you can't, give me the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 7. The book of Deuteronomy 32 and 7. And we're going to get into this thing, man, with the Spirit of the Lord. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 7.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 7. Remember the days of old.
No, forget.
Remember the days of old.
No, disregard that.
Remember the days of old.
So the Bible places importance on us remembering, okay? We are supposed to be a reflective nation of people, but we get overwhelmed due to oppression. We get overwhelmed with focusing on our slavery, trying to establish ourselves here in a place that does not want us, being in America or Europe or wherever Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are, okay? The Bible says for us to remember the days of old. We're taking this thing back to before Columbus. We go back to, I think about the days when we were deemed royalty. That gives me hope for the future because I know in this school, that's what we're building. We are rebuilding our nation brick by brick. Every brother that comes into this school and sheds himself for the world, man, the angels rejoice in heaven. We rejoice in these classrooms all across the world, man. So take that seriously. If you're going through your troopership or you just want to come to class, you're learning as a young man, be serious and intentional about that transformation because it's very, very important, all right? This is going to be your origin story, all right? We're talking about remembering the days of old. We're going to reflect on what transpired via history, via the recorded written history of the world with regard to God's chosen people and the European. You're going to hear me refer to the so-called white man throughout this class, all right? And that's what he calls himself. When I say the so-called white man, I'm speaking of the Caucasian. We call them Edomites in here, all right? Because that is who their forefather is, Edom, supposed to be the brother of Jacob, okay? But he didn't give a damn about brotherhood. And we're going to see, we're going to read and learn about how he has had a perpetual hatred for who's supposed to be his brother, all right? Remember the days of old?
Kana Wakan. Remember, Slaki, brother.
No, you too
The
off.
book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 7. Remember the days of old.
That's right, man. We're supposed to put emphasis on the past. Focus on the past because it has everything to do with your present and it has everything to do with your future, all right? It's very, very important for us to acknowledge what occurred or what has happened with respect to the past of our people, all right? Salakia.
Consider the years of many generations.
Do we consider the years of our ancestors? Do we consider what they went through? Everybody puts a lot of emphasis on the civil rights movement. And we fought for more oppression. We fought to be oppressed. We fought to be, to sit next to our enemies in pews in churches. We fought to be closer to the enemy. Whereas prior to the civil rights movement, we had our own everything. You think about any society or any nation of people, the things that they have in their everyday life, in their cities or in their towns or in their villages, from the schools to the hospitals to even, their army. We had all of that, man. We had that at one point in time. But it was because of Martin Luther King and his damn dream of wanting to join us to the oppressor, of us wanting to eat at their lunch counters, of us wanting to cohabitate with their women, for us wanting to fulfill our lascivious carnal desires of being joined to the enemy, taking on strange wives. We don't consider the years of many generations. We don't know. We don't consider what happened when you did that way back in the day. You don't consider the crosses that were burned in your ancestors' yards, let alone your uncles and aunts that were lynched by the neck at the hands of the so-called oppressor. We're going to get into some of the unaliving techniques of the oppressor. And we say the oppressor, we are speaking of white society, okay? All right. Consider the years of many generations, right?
Ask thy father, and he will show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee.
So because Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, most of us come from broken homes. We don't have fathers that we can lean to inquire about the things of the former age. This is why the school, the I.S.U.P.K, is so important, because there are fathers in this school. The elders, that your camp leader is a father, a spiritual father. They're supposed to direct you to truth, okay? In this school, the priests and prophets in this school are the elders. And we are telling the people about the old days, the days of old, us in our former years. We're talking about the generations, every decade, all the millennia that we have been in poverty or under the oppression of the so-called white man. We take all that into consideration. But unlike Ron DeSantis, he don't want you to know. He don't want you to remember the days of old. He wants you to forget about it. And he puts puppets like Manny Diaz in key positions, to misguide and mislead and miseducate God's chosen people. All right. But there is a new day, and there is a new sheriff in town. And his name is Commander General YAHANNA. And he has tasked absolute soldiers of the Lord to wake our people up and to give them these truths. Okay. You can go ahead and drop that, brother. We're going to talk about the Spanish Inquisition. Does anyone in the room know about the Spanish Inquisition?
It's like I remember hearing about it in school. And where was Zorro come from? Am I on that? Well, I think that's Zorro, and it was something else, some other nonsense we learned. The Three Musketeers.
Right.
With the little mice.
Okay.
Remember that?
So
something like that. I'm not mistaken.
No, that's really interesting that you went there, because that's dealing with the French, which they're Europeans too. They had a hand in our oppression. Zorro was a made up figure, It was good for TV, with the seats, you know what I'm saying? But this is this is older than Zorro. When you think about the Spanish Inquisition, let's look it up. I actually have a tab pulled up about the Spanish Inquisition. Gotcha. Yep, Most High Christ. Anybody else know anything about the Spanish Inquisition? Blah 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 blah. No. Let's get it out. Nothing about it. Well, in spirit, you mentioned an Indian killing hero. You mentioned Christopher Columbus. Okay, Christopher Columbus is he pretty much initiated the Spanish Inquisition. He initiated the Spanish Inquisition under, who was it, Ferdinand and Isabella? Those are Europeans. Those are the Spanish. Christopher Columbus, I believe, was Portuguese. But if you look at a map, you got Portugal, you got Spain. They're really connected, right? So they pretty much funded Columbus's voyages to the so-called New World, where he inflicted, all types of brutality upon the indigenous, the Arawak Indians, okay, the Taino Indians. Columbus, he had an uncurdled bloodlust like his forefathers, like every one of his kinsmen, to rape or take indecent liberties and sexual liberties with the unwilling, to rob as a thief, okay, and to unalive, okay. We can't say murder, but that's what he's known for, okay, unaliving. Mass unaliving, okay, the genocide of God's chosen. All right. So what is the definition here of the Spanish Inquisition?
Like him, the Spanish Inquisition.
This is another thing we have to realize, Salakia, that the Spanish Inquisition was a time period where the so-called white man began to resurrect himself in the earth as a power. Okay, this is what toward the end of the Dark Ages, when so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians were in rulership in Europe. Okay, you can research the Moors, and one thing we know about the Moors is they always say that they were melanated. They were dark people. Okay, you got it.
You ready?
Yep.
The Spanish Inquisition was a judicial institution that lasted between 1478 and 1834. Its ostensible,
its true purpose,
its ostensible
obvious purpose
was to combat heresy.
Heresy. Give me the definition of heresy. Give me the definition of heresy. We need to define these terms. Really, really important. When you come across terms like this, familiarize yourself with it, because this is a very unfamiliar language.
Right.
This has never been the tongue of the common folk. We're learning the King's English. And I'm scratching my head wondering why my son is failing ELA. it's just not in them. You know, it takes some real practical effort and application for you to understand this language. Okay.
Says here heresy.
Uh-huh.
All right. Adherence to a religious opinion contrary to church dogma. Also, an opinion or doctrine contrary to church dogma.
Okay. So to combat heresy in where? To combat heresy. We're in the article.
Oh, it says was to combat heresy in Spain.
So you talked about heresy being what?
Heresy being an opinion or doctrine contrary to church dogma.
Okay.
An adherence to a religious opinion contrary to church dogma.
Okay. So this is all opinionated. Heresy is something that is opinionated, right?
Mm-hmm.
The people that are denoting that you have committed heresy are doing it from their position, from their opinion, from their perception, from their understanding, from their reasoning, juxtaposed to what's actually true. We know about opinion. Opinion is not based in fact. Opinion is something that everybody's got an opinion. Opinions can be, formulated based off of how you feel and based off of your limited perception of the world or what it is that you're seeing. Right. That's your opinion, okay? So when we talk about heresy, this is contrary to what the Spanish believe, right? Keep reading the article.
But in practice, it resulted in consolidating power in the monarchy of the newly unified Spanish kingdom. Its brutal methods led to widespread death and suffering.
Wow. Okay. So what the so-called the people that live in Spain, they are oppressors. Okay. They are the European. Okay. And this Spanish Inquisition, Salakia. Give me the definition of heresy one more time, brother.
Let me look back up. Sorry, I dropped it.
No, you too up.
Hold on. It says heresy. I'll give you three definitions. Adherence to a religious opinion contrary to church dogma.
Okay.
Denial of a revealed truth by a baptized member of the Roman Catholic Church.
So when we talk about the Bible, okay, there are inherent truths about the Bible, what's actually denoted via the scriptures. And this is the truth that we stand for and we stand on here in the I.S.U.P.K. Everything that we do, we can validate it via the Bible, via precepts. This is how we form concrete premises for our arguments, okay? Against eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, against celebrating our birthday, against celebrating the holy days of the so-called white man, of the so-called oppressor, okay? The Bible invalidates the opinions of the Spanish. The Bible invalidates what the Roman Catholic Church professes to be true, okay? That's why it's so important for you to recognize, what it is that you're doing in all things. We're supposed to seek truth until the end in everything that you do. From the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, it should be about seeking the truth in all things. This is why we don't teach our children about the tooth fairy and about Santa Claus and reindeer and the North Pole and elves and you making a wish on your birthday and it coming true. All that crap that has nothing at all to do with serving the God of the Bible. Has nothing at all to do with progressing you in your position in life or protecting your family. It has nothing at all to do with any of that. In fact, it has everything to do with the destruction of all those things. Okay? Let's keep reading the article.
The Roman Catholic Church had established inquisitions in the past.
The who?
Inquisitions. The Roman Catholic Church.
Now, keep that in mind. They're still around to this day. They're headed by the Pope, who is honored and held in high esteem globally. Okay? We don't give a damn about the Pope in the I.S.U.P.K.
Right.
All right. He's just another devil spewing, lies. He's literally the mouth of Satan whenever the Pope speaks or whenever he makes a move, just know the devil is busy, okay? Keep reading.
Khan. Taking their name from the Latin verb inquirio, inquire into.
Right.
These commissions had authority to question supposed heretics about their religious practices and loyalties starting in the 13th century.
So we're talking about religious practices and loyalties. Okay, loyal to who? Loyal to the Most High Power or loyal to the Pope and his opinions? Loyal to the Pope and his practices via Roman Catholicism. Keep reading.
Khan. Unlike much of Western Europe at the time, medieval Spain was a multiracial and multi-religious country with large Muslim and Jewish populations.
Large who?
Muslim and Jewish populations.
Now, who in the earth is known for embracing these two religious beliefs? Well, when you think about Muslims and you think about the true Jews of the Bible, that's us. That's so-called Negroes. That's so-called Hispanics. That's the natives. Oh, go ahead, young man Reggie. What was you going to say?
No, go ahead.
You right here with me, brother. We here together. You know what I'm saying? Whatever thought you want to bring to the class, bring it to the class. Because questions that you have, statements that you make, edify the people. Everybody's learning. We're all here learning together. Okay? It's about being confident. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So go ahead, continue reading the article, Qual.
Moors, members of the Muslim population of Spain and Portugal, ruled most of the Iberian Peninsula starting in the 8th century. Christian states spent several centuries working to expel the Moors from the Iberian Peninsula.
So when we talk about the Pope, from his seat in Rome, he used the religion of Catholicism to force his way of life onto people weaker than him or weaker than them. When you think about those Muslims, when you think about those so-called Jews that were inhabiting, the land of Spain and all throughout Europe, he has an army. You think about the Roman Catholic Church, they're very powerful. You think about the money that they have, all of the land that they hold stock in, It's a very, very dangerous thing that we're dealing with here, okay? But the Pope, via the Spanish Inquisition primarily, the whole purpose was to target Black people who had power, authority, and wealth within Europe at that time, okay? During the Middle Ages or the Dark Ages, okay? Keep reading.
Khan. The last Moorish kingdom in Spain was conquered in the late 15th century. Many historians believe that the crusading spirit of the Reconquista was preserved in the subsequent Spanish emphasis on religious uniformity.
Right. So that whole conquista is a conqueror, right? The conquistadors or European explorers, literally. That's what Christopher Columbus was.
Is that the one with the cross on the?
Oh, you talking about the Crusaders?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in the same spirit.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. In the same spirit, they went across the world, basically trying to baptize, people into believing, in a white Jesus, in the Virgin Mary, but they did it at the edge of the sword. They didn't do it like us, like come into the classroom, at your own will. We're not holding a gun to nobody or forcing nobody into believing the truth. We're not, you got the other mic? Yeah, we're not forcing this truth on nobody. Now, when we go on the street corners, that's a very special thing, because that's a peaceful protest. And albeit we have been facing censorship, with respect to this truth coming out, we go out and we exercise that supposed right. You can't do that everywhere on earth. Some places restrict the right of their citizens to speak freely, okay, or to have religious liberty or freedom. In America, you can worship a rock if you wanted to. Well, people do that. It's called Islam, okay? In America, you can worship a peach if you wanted to. You don't have to subscribe to the major world religions of Christianity, Islam, and Judaism or Buddhism. You could worship a damn cricket if you wanted to. And who's going to stand in your way? All right? You got people out here worshiping these rocks and crystals. You worship, your astrological sign, worshiping their horoscope. People worship themselves in the celebration of their birthday. You are God for the day.
Hyundai Palisade versus Ford Explorer. Look what Palisade has and what Explorer doesn't. Hyundai Palisade wins every time.
It's an advertisement for whatever reason. Yeah. You just gotta make sure it's on silent. All right. So keep reading. Keep reading the article.
All right, let me go back to it. All right. Anti-Semitic. All right. Anti-Semitic sentiment grew towards Spain. Substantial Jewish population.
All right. So when you think about that term, anti-Semitic, that's anything against the so-called Semites or the Shemitic people. Okay. When you think about all the people that exist on planet Earth today, they derive from the people that survived the flood, the biblical flood. Okay. You got Noah.
Hyundai Santa Fe versus Honda Passport. Look what Santa Fe has and what Passport doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that, brother. It's all good. Anyhow, you got Noah, you have Shem, you have Japheth and Ham and their wives. Okay, we as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians come from the line of Shem. That's our biblical descendant. That's our ancestor. Okay. When you think of Ham, that's the so-called Africans. Japheth would be who? The Hawaiians and, the Polynesians or what have you, so on and so forth. Okay. But for anyone to say that we are anti-Semitic when we speak out against the people that are living in Israel right now, that's a misnomer. You can't say that about us because we are Semites. We can talk about our people. We could talk about people that have taken our identity and stolen it and have gallivanted themselves before the earth as being God's chosen when they are not. And right now they're dealing with something right now over in Israel that the Bible talks about. The Bible prophesied what's happening over there with respect to the so-called Jewish man and the Palestinians. The body count is still going up. Right. I think it was 1,500 between both sides. I think it was 900 so-called Jewish citizens, and then 600 Palestinians that have been unalived, and they have thousands that are injured. And you sit here and listen to the accounts. People were. It's just like, a devil to attack you. You know what I'm saying? On your high holy day or your feast day. Now, so-called Israel, they've been doing that. They've been doing that to the Palestinians. They've been desecrating, their temples and their sacred days. They've been doing it. So when it's done to them, they want the world to come to their aid. They want the world to have some compassion and have some empathy or some understanding. But you've been doing that to the Palestinians. Jeremiah Wright said, this is the chickens have come home to roost. Right. That's what you see transpiring right now. Okay. And it's going to always be civil unrest until God's chosen people are back in the land that was promised to them by the Most High Power. Okay. Anyhow, we're not on either side. Okay. We're not speaking for or against what the hell is happening over there. All I know that there's biblical prophecy unfolding before our eyes today. Okay. And the I.S.U.P.K. and the Commanding General YAHANNA, we've been prophesying. We've been talking about this. But has your Christian pastor been talking about this? Has T.D. Jakes prepared you for what's happening right now? Right. Has Creflo Dollar prepared you for World War III? He hasn't. Okay? He hasn't even told you that you were special and that you were God's chosen above all the other nations that the Most High Power created. This is the reason why we are at variance with the Christian church. They're the same as the Roman Catholic Church. Okay? All right. Where we at?
All right, we're in the bottom of the article. During the reign of Henry III.
Salaki, click that. What's that second tab right there? The fourth tab. What is that? No, over the fourth. Back.
1, 2, 3,
Right there.
4. Right here.
2004. What is that? 2000. No.
Oh, right here.
Yeah. What is that?
I don't know.
Out of that, please. Yeah. That's what that noise was, brother. Salakia. It popped up. It was a pop up. All right. Were we in the article?
Okay, we're right here. Anti-Semitic sentiments. Anti-Semitic sentiment grew towards Spain's substantial Jewish population. During the reign of Henry III of Castile and Leon, 1390 through 1406, Jews faced increased persecution. Pogroms in 1391 were especially brutal, and the Jewish community faced a choice between baptism and death.
Good night. This is really interesting. So they had a public policy, okay, where they are focusing on anything that is anti-Roman Catholic. So you don't have religious liberty in Europe. You didn't have it in Spain at that point in time. So just imagine if you were a Muslim or if you were a so-called Jew, and you got your feast days, you got your high holy days, you got your Sabbath days, you got your customs and traditions that you want to hold true to so you can serve your God. But you got this devil and the Pope, the so-called white man, is telling you, hell no, you ain't kissing that cobblestone. You ain't worshiping Allah. You're not worshiping whoever the fake Jew worships, because they don't worship the God of this Bible, okay? So it was a policy of dealing with Jews and Muslims. This policy is what we all know to be the legacy of slavery and white supremacy, okay? This policy right here. And if you can, give me the book of Daniel 8 and 25. Let's keep reading the article. What is a pogrom? What is it? What is it? What was that word?
Pogroms.
Pogroms. We talked about heresy, you know. Let's talk about pogrom. What is a pogrom?
It says pogrom, an organized massacre of a particular ethnic group.
A what?
An organized massacre.
Right.
Of a particular ethnic group.
The Jews or the Muslims, right?
Right. In particular, that of Jewish people in Russia or Eastern Europe in the late 19th century, early 20th centuries.
Okay. Yeah, pogrom, an organized massacre of helpless people. These people that didn't have a military. They didn't have military might. All they want to do is serve their God, you know? When you think about with respect to true Judaism, yeah, you know, we don't believe in pacifism. We do believe in self-defense, okay? And I don't want to say that because I don't want any unnecessary heat coming our way. But just know that we're prepared for war, okay? And the war is spiritual. It's not carnal. You're not going to win a war by, stockpiling these weapons. We're not going to fire one damn bullet. We're going to wait till that sky cracks and Yahweh Shamashiach comes through the clouds with, those chariots and the other angels, man. Salakia, big screen. Oh, Most High Christ. Yeah, that's what we're waiting for. We're not trying to incite our people to violence. We're not trying to start a holy war, with the oppressor. All we want our people to do is to wake up to the truth, wake up to the knowledge that God loves you and God chose you above anyone else, any and everyone else he created to rule this earth. And the way that you do that is by coming into this school and learning to keep his laws, statutes, and commandments. Okay, if you're not in I.S.U.P.K. under Commander General YAHANNA, you are not in the truth, all right? There is no separate alternative truth. There is only one truth, and truth is absolute. And that truth resides here within the schools, within the I.S.U.P.K., all right? So wherever you are, we got schools all over the globe. We were just in the UK. You in North Carolina, we got schools in Kannapolis, we got schools in Durham, We got school in Goldsboro. We got a school here in Fayetteville. You know, you can familiarize yourself with the brothers. Get to know your future leaders. Get to know the future leaders of earth. All right. You can be in the, in that number, Lord willing. Okay. Anyhow, let's continue with the article. We're talking about pogroms, an organized massacre of helpless people. This is what defines the Roman Catholic Church at its core. Who runs the Roman Catholic Church? The so-called oppressor, which is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Okay? This has been his MO since the beginning of time. Always harming those that are weaker than him, harming those that can't defend themselves, taking full advantage of brutalizing those who don't mean him any harm. Okay? That is the spirit of the enemy. That is the spirit of the oppressor. That is the spirit of these devils that were responsible for the Spanish Inquisition. They ran these pogroms. Okay? Keep reading. Many Jews were what?
Many Jews were killed upon refusal to convert to Christianity. Those who adopted Christian beliefs, the conversos, Spanish word for converted, still face suspicion. Salakia.
No, that's heavy. Yeah. That's heavy that you said that. It said many Jews were killed upon refusal to convert. So just imagine, some devil having you on one of these torture devices. We're going to talk about those in just a second. What time? Is it 7:49? Mm-hmm. Some of those torture devices that were used to get confessions from our people. They want you to confess with your mouth that you believe that Jesus Christ is your Lord and personal Savior, right? Mm-hmm. And just imagine a devil doing that, but having you on a wheel or putting you in an Iron Maiden or putting you on a, what are some of the other good night?
Draw a quarter.
Yeah, you got your head underneath the guillotine. You know how sharp a razor blade is. Just imagine a weighted razor blade on an angle, dangling, suspended above your head. And you got your neck in the dang guillotine, and it's probably blood from other people that did not convert. They did not convert to the opinion of the Roman Catholic Church and the Pope. They didn't convert. They held true to upholding the truth. That's what we doing here, Salakis. Hey, take this for me. Yeah, it's killing me. I thought I could handle it. Salakia. Anyhow, hey, come on now. I'm a new creature. Let's pull the article back up. Come on, Salakia.
Sweat.
So the many Jews that were killed upon refusal to convert to Christianity, right?
Right. Those who adopted Christian beliefs, they were called the conversos, still face suspicion and prejudice.
So we're known as a byword even when we accept your ways. Even when we accept Roman Catholicism, the people that, curbed their ways and decided to shuck and jive, they still got deemed, they got known as a byword, the conversos. These are the people that converted, okay? It's almost like the Scarlet Letter with Nathaniel Hawthorne. Instead of you getting an A, you got a big C. And people knew that you converted and that you were weak and that you truly didn't have the testicular fortitude. I'll just say the fortitude to stand for your power, to stand for your God, okay? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians throughout history have always stood for our power, okay? We've always stood. And where can you find that? Where can you find instances of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians wanting to stand to serve their power? Where can that be found?
Right here.
Huh?
Right here.
Right where? In I.S.U.P.K?
I.S.U.P.K. in the Commander YAHANNA.
Oh, Most High in Christ. I know you meant in this Bible, though.
Right.
In the Bible is where you can find many, many, many stories of us not bending the knee to serve other gods or to serve tyrannical men in rulership and in power, okay? You know about the 3 Hebrew boys, Shadrach, Meshach, and the bad Negro, right? Y'all know about them. or Abednego, right? You know about them.
Right.
They were dealing with being persecuted. They were dealing with, are they going to serve God or not? Or are you going to bow to Nebuchadnezzar or whomever? Who else? We're going to talk about this during Hanukkah. The mother with her sons, was it 7 sons? In the book of Maccabees, we're going to go into it, and you're going to see what it took in order for this mother and her sons to serve the Lord. A lot of us get put to death, or a lot of us will get unalived. A lot of us will be martyred for the sake of serving the Most High Power, okay? But the Most High Power, he will not forget. He has not forgotten the blood that has been shed. And he ain't forgotten who has shed that blood, okay? All right. So let's continue with this article real quick. Then we're going to get into the next, the torture devices.
Jews who had apparently converted but continued to practice their faith in secret were considered a major threat to Spanish society.
Right. So give me that. I told you somebody pulled Daniel, the book of Daniel 8:25. Let's go ahead and bust this scripture down real quick. Daniel, the book of Daniel,
chapter 8, verse 25.
Right.
And through his policy,
Right.
also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand.
So I love this scripture here because this speaks volumes, not just about our current reality and, the politicians that create these policies that oppress God's chosen people, but you can apply this to any of the policies that were enacted against God's chosen, against the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, against the people that God chose to be the light of the world. Through his policy, through the policy of this Inquisition, the devil, craft has prospered in his hand. That is witchcraft. That is evil and wicked. What happened to so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians during this time of the Spanish Inquisition? All of the blood, all the innocent blood that was shed, throughout the course of time, especially during this time period. And I had some figures here, man, which was like crazy to me when you think about all the blood that was shed. We could talk about the 77 million of the Native Indians, during the colonization of the Americas, North, Central, South America, the Caribbean islands, or the 99 million of the so-called Negroes and the Hispanics that died across during the transatlantic slave trade, died across the Middle Passage. 99 million. It's a tremendous loss of life. And then you have the 50 million people that died during this time period of religious persecution in the name of the Spanish Inquisition, okay, via the Roman Catholic Church under the Pope, okay? Where we at?
We right here talking about Ferdinand.
All right, go ahead and read that. Ferdinand and Isabella. You mentioned Christopher Columbus earlier, okay? These were the bastards that put the money, they put the battery in Columbus back. They're the ones that financed him bringing over the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, okay? And all those voyages.
Was that the Pilgrims?
No. We're talking about the conquistadors. The Pilgrims is a separate group of devils, that came to the Americas, all right, and oppressed the Native Indians. You Google the Green Corn Festival. Those of y'all that are making y'all plans to celebrate Thanksgiving this year, they always talk about, every black person talks about, everybody got Indian in their family until it comes down to celebrating Thanksgiving. And then you forget about the tremendous loss of life, all the blood that was shed of the so-called Native Indian at the hands of the oppressor. We can't be sellouts. We have to remember the days of old. We got to consider those generations of those 77 million Native Indians that were slaughtered. When's the last time you seen a Native Indian? When? Think about it. Wherever you live, when's the last time you seen a Native Indian? Unless you live in the Pacific Northwest somewhere. okay,
It's
or
been
you
a
live
while.
in the Midwest, what you say, brother?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been a long while. Salakia. All right. The marriage of Ferdinand.
The marriage of Ferdinand II and Isabella I in 1469 united the kingdoms of Aragon and Castile.
Right. You think about the Castilians in Aragon, you know, these are very old names or old houses of oppressors, of devils. Okay. Keep reading.
Ferdinand and Isabella further united the Spanish kingdoms into an imperial force.
Right.
In 1478, Pope Sixtus, the fifth, the sixth, fourth, the fourth issued a papal bull or decree authorizing the Catholic monarchs to name inquisitors in order to enforce religious uniformity and to expel Jews from Spain.
Right.
Ferdinand and Isabella sought to use the Inquisition to increase their absolute power over the centralized regimen.
Right. So we talked about these are the same people that started
regimes, like it.
Yeah, these are the same people that started the murder of our people in Europe all the way to the Americas. Okay? This family here, we talked about in the book of Daniel. Read that again.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 8 and verse 25. No, in verse 25, yes. And through his policy.
That papal bull, that decree to do what?
And through his policy.
That policy authorizing the Catholic monarchs to name inquisitors in order to enforce religious uniformity and to expel Jews from Spain. That policy did what?
Also, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand.
And through that policy, that craft of murdering God's chosen people, you know, he became prosperous because the people that he murdered, the people that he unalived, he took their property.
Right.
He absolved, you know, their riches as his own. You think of nationalization where the government comes in and they seize your property and it becomes whatever was yours becomes the government's. Right. This is in the same spirit, okay? But they were only targeting Muslims and Jews, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians.
Right.
Okay? That had authority, that had a little bit of money and resources.
Right.
They had power and influence. The affluent of Israel. Okay? All right, keep reading. That scripture.
Khan. And he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand.
Right.
And he shall magnify himself in his heart. And by peace shall I destroy many.
Good night.
He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand.
Man, that's heavy. That's a prophecy of talking about the destruction, the impending destruction of the so-called oppressor, okay? But when you think about all that witchcraft or that craft that prospered in his hand, the Roman Catholic Church became rich. They became wealthy over the centuries of this Spanish Inquisition.
Right.
You think about all the Moors, all the Jews, all the Muslims that had money and they were established. How many lives were ruined? How many lives were taken and stolen? All that property. You think about, we should Google how wealthy is the Roman Catholic Church?
Oh man.
You know?
Very wealthy, yeah.
Google that. So how wealthy is the Roman Catholic Church, man? You know?
Everybody Google that.
This is the same people that put an end to the Dark Ages in Europe.
This is for the Marketplace website.
Okay.
It says that if you're looking at the Catholic Church alone, all right, God has at least, and we're putting a huge emphasis on at least, 73 billion in assets. Make that 73 trillion.
$73 trillion or euros. The euro is way more valuable than the dollar, right?
Hold on, is that?
73 trillion. That is crazy. That's an
yeah.
astronomical amount of money for for anyone to have. You think about any government or any nation, you know, when you think about the Vatican, they're their own separate entity, essentially.
Shalakia, I took the zero off. It's billion.
Okay, 70.
But it says the Vatican Bank earned a net profit of 18.1 million euro, 18.1 million, but it also has roughly 2.8 billion euros in assets. But it's worth $100 billion.
$100 billion in today's standard.
Right.
So they made their bones targeting and oppressing Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians during the Middle Ages. Okay, these are the same people we talk about. Ferdinand and Isabella, you know, that put an end to the Dark Ages in Europe, where we were in rulership. You talk about King James. We don't know that King James was a black man because that's not what's taught in the schools. And then you think about all those Renaissance artists, those sculptors, those architects, those painters, you know, Michelangelo, Donatello, you know, Raphael, all of them, like the Ninja Turtles, right?
Right.
That were commissioned to repaint history. We talk about iconoclasm, you know, that's how they made their bones, is by rewriting history, changing the face of God, literally, changing the face of God's chosen people to be lily white. This is where you get the images of Caesar Borgia, okay? The second son of Pope Alexander VI of Rome.
Right.
When we think about the depiction of what Jesus looks like, that is that image, that false image of the Messiah that was, you know, promoted throughout the world as being Jesus. When the Bible talks about Christ being a dark-skinned black man from the tribe of Judah, it don't make any sense, man.
Right.
All right. So they rounded up the most wealthy of the heretics, those that would not conform to the opinion of Catholicism, right? Where we at in the article?
Okay, we are back at the Spanish Inquisition. We have Ferdinand and Isabella at the bottom. We on to the first Spanish. Okay,
Yeah, right. There we go.
the first Spanish Inquisitor. I can't stand that word. The first Spanish inquisitors
Right.
were so severe in their methods that Sixtus attempted to intervene.
So when we think about that term, Inquisition, okay, what is the root of Inquisition? Yeah, to inquire, right? What does that mean? Give me the definition of inquire. So this is very, very, what's the word? You think about somebody infringing upon your rights. It's very, very invasive, you know, for any government or any regime that's in authority and rulership to inquire about your religious beliefs or your religious affiliation. You know, that is the mark of a tyrannical government, according to the oppressor standard, okay?
Inquire means to put a question, seek for information by question.
Believing in the white baby Jesus, in the virgin birth, do you believe in the Immaculate Conception?
Right.
You know, do you believe that Sunday is the Lord's day? Do you believe that, you know, the world basically there's a heliocentric belief that the world revolves around what? The sun or the universe?
Right.
Heliocentrism.
Heliocentrism.
Another precursor to sun worship. All right.
It also says to make investigation or inquiry. It says to ask about or to search into, investigate.
What are they asking about? They're asking about, you know, do you believe in the Sabbath? Do you believe in the God of the Bible?
Right.
You know, do you eat this pork, right?
Right.
They're gonna prove So they're going to disprove that you don't really love the Lord the way you say you love the Lord, according to our standard, via our opinion. You're a heretic. This is heresy for you to believe that God is the Most High Power is a man of war, or that God is that Christ is a black man, or that a man can have more than one wife, or that it's a sin to eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. You know, that would be heresies. That's heresy today. Because the Christian pastors, any Christian comes up against us because of our belief in the strict adherence to what the Bible says about those things. All right. Is that it on that? No, let's finish this off.
Calm. The first Spanish inquisitors were so severe in their methods that Sixtus attempted to intervene, but his efforts were in vain, as Ferdinand and Isabella realized how useful the Inquisition was to their royal power.
Their own selfish gain. All right, now we get into the good stuff. We're going to get into the good stuff when we talk about torture during these inquisitions. They couldn't just take you into, like, you know, a detective would take you into the room and start to question you, you know, about your whereabouts or about your beliefs, about your practices, you know, about who you pay tithes to, that sort of thing. They had to do it violently. You know, they had to quench a bloodlust that they've had since Esau, since Cain. And go to history. Yeah. Oh, you can keep going down. You can keep going down. Let's see what pops up next. All right, read that.
The Inquisition was characterized by secret procedures, the use of torture during interrogation, and the complete lack of rights for the accused.
You have no rights. If you were a Muslim or if you were a Jew, a so-called self-professed Muslim or a Jew, you came from one of those families of wealth and influence, you didn't have any rights when it came down to them interrogating you. And like I said, they used means, you know, that were violent. They employed violence during their inquiry, or them looking into, you know, the allegations of you being a heretic, or you believing other than the Pope being ultimate power, or I don't even know what Roman Catholics believe when it comes down to the Pope. But what the hell is his position?
Right.
You serve the Pope, you worship the Pope, you're supposed to be worshiping the Most High.
Right.
You know? But anyhow, those secret procedures, they weren't secret for long because they ended up going public, and they became public displays, okay? And mass unalivings on a grand scale. And this is what left an indelible mark on the psyches of everyone that witnessed these inquisitions, everyone that witnessed these tortures, okay? And if you know that you were going to be tortured for your beliefs, would you believe still? Would you still believe? If you knew that your family would be murdered or unalived, all your precious babies, your rib, your mama and them, everybody put to the sword for the sake of you believing in the God of the Bible, would you truly believe? Would you continue to believe? Or would you become a convert? And even the converts had no peace. Even the converts weren't given their just due. Anyhow. All right. Let's pull up the 10 medieval. We'll get into some of these things. And, you know, if you got kids in the room, you know what I'm saying, let them sit there so they can understand the truth. But this stuff is kind of squeamish, you know, it's not for the faint of heart. You're reading some of these devices, you know, it took an absolute monster to engineer these things and to even put them to use. You absolutely have to be a devil in order to do some of these things. All right. So we're going to just talk about 10 medieval torture devices. Okay. And this is what the Spanish inquisitors, these are the devices that they use to get confessions or the information that they sought during their inquisitions from those Muslims and those Jews. All right. Scroll up, Baba Kushah.
Come.
You can read. You can start reading there.
All right. The period known as the Middle Ages stands out as one of the most violent eras in history. This epoch lasted roughly 1,000 years, from the 5th century to the 15th, was a time of great inequality and brutality in much of Europe.
Right.
What really sets this time apart is the ghoulish inventiveness that gave rise to a plethora of torture methods.
Good night.
There were many grounds for torture during the Middle Ages. Religious fervor and religious fervor and criminal punishment come to mind. But why would a person take the time to invent a device designed to maim? Go down. In his 1975 book, A History of Torture in England, L.A. Perry attempted to explain this bizarre phenomenon. This is what he had to say. What strikes us most considering the medieval tortures is not so much their diabolical barbarity as extraordinary variety and what may be termed as artistic skill they displayed. They represent a condition of thought in which men had pondered long and carefully on all the forms of suffering, had compared and combined the different kinds of torture till they had become the most consummate masters of their art, had expanded on the subject all the resources of the utmost ingenuity, and had pursued it with abhor of a passion.
Now that's crazy.
Adore.
Yeah, ardor of passion. You know, this is something that they love to do. This defines the nature of the so-called white man or the oppressor, you know, the so-called European, the so-called Spaniard, okay? This defines, you know, their thought process, their psyche, the way that they think. And they had a passion for it, okay? That's why they have so many different devices. I counted over 40 on my phone, okay? But we're going to start at the top. Number 10, the brazen bull. Are you sharing this screen with everybody, Baba Kushah?
Oh, I should be.
It's up, Most High Christ. Yeah, that's good right there, bro. Appreciate you.
Sir.
Number 10. Yeah, there you go, right there.
All right. Oh,
go ahead. You got it.
Number 10. Man, there's Brazen Bulls number 10.
Let me ask you this.
What the hell's
who never really believed in Catholicism, though? Who never really believed in Catholicism?
Who never really believed in it?
Who never really?
They don't. The Catholics don't.
The Catholics, true, but beyond them. You know, because they were able to continue to do this throughout time. So our people, if they did this over 1,000 years, they did this 1,000 years in private and in public, and we still believed, we still held true to our traditions, to our customs, we still held true to the belief that the Most High Power is all powerful, even, you know, in the face of death.
There's this there's this book I bought when I was deployed, right before I deployed. It was called Good Night. John Fox, Book of Martyrs. And in this book is John I want to keep calling him John Locke. John Fox was like he supposed to record, you know, all these tortures and all these killings through the centuries, right?
Right.
He observed, you know, the Christians and the Crusades and all this nonsense, but he depictively describes instances where he eyewitnessed and talked to people word of mouth what they saw during the time of these tortures.
Right.
And he's very descriptive.
Oh, of
to the
course.
point he put a bunch of, you know, Christians or believers of Christ in a net and let the bulls just run up under it and keep goring them and going until they all die.
Oh my goodness.
He also talks about the brazen bull. He talks about, you know, the children. He talks about how they would just have no regard for the women and how these people would masterfully come up with these torture tactics to scare you into worshiping Catholicism.
Right.
out of fear. That's why we're here. We say we fear no man. We fear nobody but the Most High.
That's right.
You cannot, he also tells these radical stories about some of them not feeling any pain, that the Lord was with them when they died.
Right.
But the Catholic Church went later on to say, they tried to discredit his writings, saying that some of them were, not true, that they weren't that evil. But I seriously doubt it. I read most of that book, about 80% of that book, and it seemed like it was pretty legit to me.
Of course. He's speaking truth to power. Whenever you speak the truth, you're going to have people that are going to come against it, especially if you represent the side that's being, spoken of in an adverse manner. You're going to automatically try to refute it as being a lie. It's very interesting. All right. So let's talk about this brazen bull. What happened?
I'm going to add the
Yeah, we the Israelite School, Universal Practical Knowledge, coming out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. And we are going into the history of the Spanish Inquisition, okay? Recognizing or identifying who has been persecuting God's chosen, the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians since the beginning of time, okay? And the people that are responsible for the Spanish Inquisition are responsible for the transatlantic slave trade. They're responsible for the conditions that you're living in 2023 today in the ghetto. They're responsible for it, okay? And this is in the spirit of young man Reggie talked about Christopher Columbus. Today, people celebrate Columbus Day. How the hell do you celebrate Columbus Day or Indigenous Peoples Day? How do you do it? You fire up the grill? What do you do? Right. Just celebrate Christopher Columbus. In here, we pulling the wool off of our people's eyes, man. We're going to show you the truth, and we're going to show you truly, according to history, what transpired, what actually happened. We don't believe in doing away with critical race theory or the 1619 Project or woke indoctrination. We actually teach history as it occurred, and we're not trying to withhold evidence or withhold the facts to give you a false narrative about our history, because our history defines our present, okay? All right, so talk about this brazen bull.
Number 10, the brazen bull. The brazen bull was a hollow brass statue crafted to resemble a real bull. Victims were placed inside, usually with their tongues cut out first. The door was shut, sealing them in. Fires would be lit around the bull as the victim succumbed to the searing heat inside. He would thrash about and scream in agony. The movements and sounds muted by the bull's mask made the apparatus appear alive. The sounds inside like those of a real bull. This effect created additional amusement for the audience and served the added benefit of distancing them from the brutality of the torture, since they couldn't directly see the victim. My God. Legend has it that this device was invented by a Greek named Perilius, in some sources for a tyrant named Phalaris of Agrigenum. Let me blow that up so I can't see. Expecting a handsome reward for his creativity, Perilius instead became the first person placed inside the brazen bull. By some reports, Phalaris himself became an eventual victim of the bull also when his subjects grew tired of his mistreatment. They put him in there. Yeah, designed for him.
Right. It was designed for him. That's the Most High power repaying you to your face.
Yeah. But that was the Trojan bull, the Trojan horse. But that brazen bull, that's in that book.
Is it really?
Yes, and the oil cauldron. I ain't on the list.
You pour the oil on them. And so like, if I may, all those things in the scriptures as well. You go back to a ancient king named Nero. Y'all remember that dish burning program we used to use all the time? Y'all remember that we used to rip CDs from one another? The Nero burn. That's where that come from. His name was Nero. He was actually famous for, you know what I'm saying, putting them inside of the brazen bull, and people believed that the bull was alive. It just shows how sadistic like these other nations are when they come to torturing the Lord's people, man, or just torturing for power.
Right.
It's similar to it reeks of everything that we deal with today as a nation of people. Like, we don't understand the torture that we face day in and day out. We become accustomed to how the world views us.
Mm-hmm.
So now we walk around with like a target on our backs, trying not to act a certain way to bring that type of heat our way. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
But we know what torture looks like when we hear the stories of cops taking lives, innocent lives, and then getting off with it.
Right.
It's damn near like a ritual that they perform in these streets for their power. You understand? And we're victims with living under these bastards, just like it's talking about these ways of torture.
Right. No, you're absolutely right, Adawan. You're absolutely right. You know, and that's just crazy to know the resilience of God's chosen people in the face of dealing with something like that. You know, you get to witness one of your loved ones get put in the belly of a brazen bull, and then to hear their screams, and then you still choose to serve the Most High Power.
Well, remember, Salaki, if I may, the oppressor is so evil. Put him inside the bull, right? And they said right here, it talks about how because they were distance from the bull, you know, they cut his tongue out. So he's in there moving around, making the bull look alive. And of course, they're cheering and making all this noise. So they really can't hear, maybe, but they see the bull moving around. Well, they probably could possibly hear it. But the same thing when they used to beat the sounds of the drum, when they sacrificed their children to Molech, right, to drown out the screams of the children just being melted and all that.
Right,
right. Just the mind state of a devil is like, I mean, he wakes up in the morning thinking of ways to be evil. Like, it's just, how can you even witness that?
And be sane.
But we see the pictures of those black folks being lynched and burnt, and them little kids and white folks is smiling. Mm-hmm. They've been evil like that. These are the same people. They can look at that stuff. I couldn't even look. I can't see a dead dog in the street or a dead deer with guts out. I'm like, oh man, let alone a human. Good night.
No, that's heavy. That's heavy.
Number 9, thumb screws. Thumb screws represent a very insidious form of torture. You weren't likely to die from their use, but they created unendurable agony.
Who?
Unendurable agony.
Thumb screw.
Thumb screws.
They used to have the images of them joints. They should have had it up there. You can Google it if you're at home. Just Google thumb screw, and just imagine a screw, you know, in like a clamp on your thumb. And as they screw it, the screw is going through your fingernail. Well, however they wanted to put it, they could put it through the bottom of your thumb, the base of your thumb, and have it come up through that way, through the flesh, through the bone, through your fingernail at the end. I mean, I ain't no oppressor or nothing like that, you know what I'm saying? But I can only imagine, you know. Keep reading.
But the device consisted of 3 upright metal bars, between which the thumbs were placed. A wooden bar slid down along the metal bars, pressing the thumbs against the bottom. A screw pressed the wood bar downward, crushing the thumbs painfully. The thumb screws were an elaboration of an earlier device known as
Good night.
known as the pillywinks,
It's a lot, kid.
which could crush all 10 fingers and resemble a nutcracker.
The pillywinks.
They're giving us ideas for the kingdom.
Man, come on now. That's terrible. The pillywinks.
Thumb screws supposedly originated with the Russian army as a punishment for misbehaving soldiers. A Scottish man brought a set home with him and introduced them to the United Kingdom.
Yeah. What does it say about torture here?
Torture as a sentence. Torture was often included as part of a judicial sentence against a criminal. Authorities responded to the increase in crime rates by enacting excruciating tortures upon convicted criminals. usually in a very public manner.
That's right. These torture techniques were done in public. They talked about them being in private in Britannica, but they didn't have the effect of, spreading mass hysteria or mass fear if they were done in private. They had to be done out in the middle of the town. They had to be done in the town square. This is the reason why lynching was so prevalent within the town squares of these sundown towns. They had to do them out in the open so other people could see and other people could learn and other people could choose to convert or choose to hide whatever it was that they believed in, whether it was Islam or Judaism. Keep reading, Salakia.
The horrifying nature of the punishment was meant to deter other criminals, while the most serious offenses, high treason, mass murder, resulted in severe torture. Children were sometimes hanged for stealing food. So not everyone who visited the torture chamber was a hardened criminal.
Good night. Can you imagine lynching a child? Can you imagine hanging a child?
Hell, that's crazy.
That is cold-blooded, man. You know the foolish things you did when you was a kid. You talk about the lack of compassion. This is the spirit of our oppressor. This is him. In the form of the Spanish Inquisition that I'm sure they don't talk about in school. They might say Spanish Inquisition, but they'll fast forward past that. They'd rather your kids learn about them Egypt. They'll teach your kids Egyptology, have them make a mummy and build a tomb. They want you to focus on death and nothing, there's no life there in Egypt. There's no life in you studying about King Tutankhamun.
Right.
And building a sarcophagus. All that is crap, man. It's a waste of damn time. Instead of teaching them something that could be beneficial to them, like keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, they teach you about the dead and the dying. But where we at? What's this? Is that the rack?
This is called the rack.
That's the one right there. Good night. Imagine having your behind suspended over that rack like that. And they would do it. You'd be butt behind naked on that thing.
Yeah.
Butt booty behind naked. Can you imagine that? It's shameful, man. Keep reading.
It says the rack was used throughout Europe for centuries. It came in many forms, but here's the basic idea. The victim was tied down while some mechanical device, usually a crank or turning wheel, tightened the ropes, stretching the victim's body until the joints were dislocated. Continued pressure could cause the limbs to be torn right off.
How many of y'all broke a bone in here? Anybody ever broke a bone? You broke a bone? What bone did you break? Pause. How did it feel? Yeah. Do you believe in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? Can you imagine some devil leaning over you while that's getting broken? I couldn't.
Nah, hell no.
You're gonna convert. You're gonna say, yes, I believe in Jeebus.
Yep.
You're gonna believe. Go ahead, Ottawa.
You gotta remember the Spanish Inquisition was really based on capturing the stronger tribes at that. So when you talk about breaking the nation of people that was here, the indigenous people that was here, our brothers and sisters, they would take the stronger tribes, the stronger tribes and break them first. And once they begin to break them, they went after first next, the babies.
Of course. Right.
The babies.
Right.
That's why you talk about those schools. They would take the children from them and indoctrinate them into the system.
You talking about the normal schools? That's right. Yeah.
You look at the size of them. They're designed for the size of the children.
Right. And so what I know what you're speaking of is, when we talk about even the spirit of buck breaking, where they take the biggest and the baddest of the Negro, or Hispanic or Native Indian, and make a public example of him. And it's like, wow, this is a very unnatural thing that's happening to this brother. He's supposed to be strong, but the person that's doing this to him is stronger. Whatever they represent is stronger than what this brother represents. Okay. So that is to get everybody to toe the line, to fall in line, you know? And it's a wicked and evil thing, you know, whether it was in Europe or whether it was on the other side of the pond here in the Americas, it was wicked and evil. All right. But these are the same people that persecuted us in Europe, persecuted us here in the Americas. Okay. We got the same enemy, the same common enemy. He has not changed. He is the same one persecuting us today in 2023. All right. So we're talking about the rack. So imagine you being suspended, both your arms out, both your legs out, you naked, and you got some devil trying to get you to convert, asking you questions about your beliefs. Why you don't eat tuna fish? What's wrong with tuna fish? Why y'all don't eat tuna fish? Albacore is white. It's white meat. Why you don't eat tuna fish? Why you don't eat tuna? Do you know why you don't eat tuna? Y'all don't know? I'm gonna put you on a rack.
Because it's unlawful.
But why is it unlawful? Why is tuna unlawful?
Because the Lord said not to eat it. It's in the book of Leviticus.
There's a very specific reason why tuna is unlawful. Unlike a mackerel is unlawful because it does not have what?
Fish and scales.
It doesn't have
fins or scales.
Give that brother a hand. Give him a hand. Yeah, that's it. So that's how they will be inquiring. You know, they would want to know. And if you said, "Oh, we can't eat it because it's devoid of scales," are you going to convert? Or are you going to let them, you know, disconnect both your arms, your shoulders, and your legs? Come on. I mean, you're going to lose either way. You're going to lose. And at the end of the day, you just turn your back on the Most High. You know what give me Salakia. That's not the one I want. I didn't want Micah. I want Matthew 10 and 28. And you can keep reading with these devices.
Okay, we get the idea of the rack.
Yeah, the rack. We get the rack is crazy.
Mm-hmm. All right, the wheel. Wheels were adapted.
What was that move that Triple H
torture rack? Oh no,
the torture rack.
Yeah, that was Lex Luger.
Mm-hmm. He pick you up in the WWF, right? Yeah. Pick you up, put you over your shoulders, and just start. That hurt, man.
Shut up. Chill, bro. Stop, man. Stop. I can't breathe.
Talking about a shoulder press. You sitting there jumping up and down.
Yeah, that hurt, man.
That's the rack. But the spirit of the rack is him studying this. Yeah. That's where he came up with it. Good night, man. That's terrible. And people actually died on the rack. Put him in the torture rack. Oh, man. That's terrible.
You can't breathe.
No, you can't breathe. He's squeezing you on both ends. Pause. You out of there.
Yeah. Good night.
Give me Matthew 10 and 28. You read the will. You can talk about the will real quick. You hold Matthew 10 and 28.
Wheels were adapted to many torturous uses. They could be a part of a stretching rack, but medieval torturers were far too creative to leave it at just that. Early torturers were fond of tying someone to a large wooden wheel, then pushing it down a rocky hillside.
Oh, come on, man.
A more elaborate method involved a wheel mounted to an A-frame that allowed it to swing freely. The victim would be tied to the wheel and then swung across some undesirable thing below. Fire was always a good choice, but dragging the victim's flesh across metal spikes also worked well. The wheel itself could also have spikes mounted on it, so the pain came from all directions.
Oh, man.
Instead of swinging, the wheel might turn on an axle. The difference was likely immaterial to the victims.
It didn't matter. You couldn't get any respite. You couldn't get any rest or relief if you were on this apparatus. So they had spikes on your back, and if they rode you down the hill, you had to come in contact with the rocky, substrate that you're coming down. You're coming down a hill, a mountainous hill, and you are the tire on the wheel. That's you, your body. It's coming in contact with the terrain. And they got some hills in Europe. I don't know if y'all ever been seen Europe. You know, they have plenty of mountainous regions in Europe. Can you imagine that? I've seen people go and get inside of a wheel, a literal wheel, and get rolled down a hill like a monster truck wheel or like a wheel of a tractor.
Yeah.
And they're kind of protected, but you're on the outside of the wheel. Let's just imagine that. You couldn't survive that. You would not be able to survive that. You pray and ask the Lord to render you unconscious the first time your head hit one of the rocks. Take me out. I don't even want to feel it. I want to be asleep. Good night. All right, where we at?
The stake.
You go down to the stake. Let's talk about the stake real quick.
The stake.
Oh, heck no, that's crazy.
Being burned at the stake was usually the last stop for torture victims. Because this form of torture was invariably fatal, conceptually, it's a very simple process. Create a pile of dry wood with a stake at the center to tie it to the victim to, and then light it. The fire does all the work. It usually took about a half an hour before the victim lost consciousness.
Oh, come on.
But it was
half an hour?
That's cap.
I can't. No, you would be out in like 5 minutes, bro. There is no way. You ever touch a hot oven?
It's the oxygen though. You can't breathe in the fire.
Just from the feeling.
Okay, so
the heat.
Okay,
the
so
intense heat on your feet.
It might be. You might be right.
The heat burning your toes and your toenails and burning your leg hairs and
you'll be alive.
Way.
You probably still be alive if you didn't pass out. Passing out means you're still alive though. Like meaning you could pass out and still be alive. If you faint, you're not dead. So
half an hour is crazy.
It is because a fire has a kick up to the point where it engulfs you. So they light it and you feel the heat of it rising. So it might take about 30 minutes for that dry wood to get you.
Lord have mercy.
I mean, yeah,
that's a rough one there.
That's
to be burned at the stake. Yeah, we talking about fire now. How many you been burnt before? Yeah, you gotta ask it. Be specific by fire. You been burnt by fire before, brother? Salakia.
God, oh God.
How did you want? I mean, it wasn't an enjoyable experience. I'm sure. Do you have a mark to prove that you've been burnt by fire? Yeah. Oh, ain't no way. There's no way, brother. I seen a brother walking down the street the other day, and he had been in a fire. Yeah. I've seen the story about him. His mom was dealing with this is sidebar. You know, sisters, you got to be very mindful of the brothers you deal with. You need to get you a priest and prophet in the Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge. Because in here we serve the Lord, all right? We don't lean into our own understanding for anything. You know, when it comes down to us dealing with you in a righteous manner, you should expect it. But this brother, his mother was dealing with some dude that made them go into the kitchen, set everybody in the kitchen. He doused them with gasoline, and then he set them on fire. And only him and his sister survived. You see him all the time. He come to Fayetteville State games. You know, shout out to that brother. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he come in here. You know, but that in itself, to walk around and be marred that way, that's a rough lot in life, man. You know, and even his fingers, like he can't even really use his hands the way he need to use his hands. I'm sure if you get a cold is like the flu. You know what I'm saying? Immune system is suppressed on another level. And then let alone like you're an eyesore. You know, you see little kids be like, ah! When you walk into the room, it's like, damn, I'm just coming in the room. You know, Salakia. That's a sidebar. But anyhow, being burned at the stake. Who want to be burned alive, man? Who was burned alive? Anybody know? Any major?
I had a good friend some years ago, and we were staying a couple houses away from him. And I guess
give him the mic, Baba Kusha.
I guess like a couple. All right. We were staying a couple houses away from him, and somehow something triggered a fire inside the house and stuff. And we ran the house, and it just like it was like so quick that it just go up the nail and stuff. So as we were coming towards them, but the only person who didn't make it out was the grandmama and the grandfather, and you could hear them screaming inside there.
Oh man, you heard them screaming?
And
you know they wasn't playing. Good night. How long were they screaming? For half an hour?
No, I mean the house was caught on fire so quick. It was in flame and stuff real bad.
I hate to ask you to recall this, you know what I'm saying? Because I know a lot of us have a lot of compartmentalized trauma. I don't want to trigger any anxiety, but how long were they screaming? Do you remember? It wasn't no 30 minutes. It was probably like 5 minutes. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. 30 minutes is crazy. 30 minutes is crazy for you to be on fire.
That house just go up in fire. I mean, so quick you could like, dang.
Yeah.
And I don't think I hear them just yelling. That's it, yelling inside there. And the grandkids and the parents and stuff out there crying and stuff because they couldn't save them because that fire when it hit.
You said it was a Christmas tree?
I don't know what was.
Yes, a Christmas tree is good kindling. You know what I'm saying? To set your house on fire. If you are planning to erect a Christmas tree in your home, you should just Google that. Google Christmas tree on fire. And you'll see fire departments all across America telling you the do's and don'ts and what to do with respect to your Christmas tree. Just don't put a damn Christmas tree in your house, especially if you're Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, all right? Because you are sinning against the Most High Power. Your house is going up in flames. You're not going to be able to get grandma or the baby that's in the bassinet upstairs. You're not going to be able to rescue them. All for the sake of you wanting to worship another God? Man, to hell with Christmas. Come in here and learn to keep the feast days and the high holy days of the Most High Power. All right? So you don't have to worry about having to put grandma take grandma down to Wiseman or Colvin. Right. You know, Salakia. All right, one more torture device, and then we'll go into that scripture in Matthew.
The pillory. A pillory was a set of two parallel wooden boards clasped together with holes for the neck and wrist. When open, the victim placed his or her head and arms through the holes. Then the pillory was closed, and the victim couldn't possibly escape. The pillory itself did no harm to the victim, though it was certainly not comfortable. The entire apparatus was usually placed on a stage in a public place. The entire point was to humiliate and shame the victim for his or her crimes. The crowd would throw objects at the victim, such as rotten vegetables, dead animals, or feces. Stones and other blunt objects were thrown as well, which could result in painful injuries or death. While a spell in the pillory often only lasted an hour or two, usually during the busiest times of day, its effect really depended on the nature of the crime and the mood of the crowd. 4 Englishmen who had falsely accused others of crimes to get the reward, sending innocents to the hangman's noose, were beaten to death by the crowd. Others who won the crowd's favor by refusing to pay unjust taxes or mocking government officials were showered with flowers or rescued from the pillory outright.
Yes. Let's go to the next one, because that don't
you
even
know that
sound
pillory still exists in these stupid theme parks when these kids be taking a picture with their head and the mom and the family, their head in their hands, and everybody takes a picture. That's the same thing. That's all it is.
Okay.
Yeah, you go to Carowinds or
Stockade.
Yeah, Carowinds, or they do it here, these little parks. And look, go get in it, Timmy. And Timmy puts his head in there. And the hand, you got the mama, the daddy, the brother. Everybody got their head in the stupid thing. I never did that crap. Yeah. I always felt like it was slavery attached to it. I'm not putting my head in that. That's where I get stuck.
You going to a theme park though?
I could never do it.
Straight up.
I could never do that. Those are pillory. They still exist to this day. They're just used as park props now. You take pictures in.
Man, that's heavy. What's the next one?
The Iron Maiden.
That's a good one.
The rock group. The Iron Maiden was an upright sarcophagus with spikes on the inner surfaces. Double doors open on the front allowing entrance for the victim. In one example, 8 spikes protruded from the one door.
Hold on, scroll down so they can see it. Baba Kushah. Good night. There it is. You can see the spikes, belly button, top of the thigh, in the sternum, right there. Oh man, what's that? Right there over the belly. Good night. Spikes. Keep reading, Salakia. That's terrible.
It is.
Over the diaphragm.
Once the 13 from the other. Once the victim was inside, the doors were closed. There, the strategically placed spikes would pierce several vital organs. However, they were relatively short spikes, so the wounds wouldn't be instantly fatal. Instead, the victim would linger and bleed to death over several hours. To add to the abject horror of it all, 2 spikes were positioned specifically to penetrate the eyes. Good night. In the 1800s, researchers found one in a castle in Nuremberg, Germany, and documented proof of its use later surfaced. For this reason, this device is sometimes known as the Iron Maiden of Nuremberg. Other names included the Virgin and, in German, the Jungfer. A variation found in Spain was made to look like the Virgin Mary and had machinery that, when manipulated, caused her to hug the victim close to her spikes.
Man, that's terrible.
However, many scholars say the Iron Maiden never existed. The first historical reference to one was in the 1700s, long after the medieval era was over with. That's cap. They did exist.
Yeah, that is wild. Can you imagine going into a castle and you stumbling upon that device and seeing it? And then you have your scientists come in and test the spikes to see, if it's got blood or any other body fluid on it. Man, come on. That's terrible. There's some poor soul, whoever the last poor soul was, good night. All right. Drop that. Let's go to Jeremiah 49:16. Hey, you keep your finger on Matthew, Baba Kushah. Jeremiah 49:16.
Let me hit some shout outs real quick.
Yes. Shout them out. Where they at?
Big shout out to Kenny, OG in the building. Young man Kenny, I.S.U.P.K, Columbus, Ohio in the building. Officer Quatrazar. You know what I'm saying? Prince S.K, Sister Chrissy in the building. Sister Summer in the building. Sister Nara in the building. Darash, okay, he here with us. Kwame Par, what's up, brother? Shout out Kwame Par checking in. YAHANNA, Banya THAWADAH. Shout out to Officer for Texas. Oh yeah, Officer now.
YAHANNA, Banya THAWADAH. Yep. This is big priest wear right here. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to YAHANNA, man, Texas.
YAHANNA.
Yeah, Austin, Texas in the building. Yeah, get your big priest wear.
Little plug there, pause.
YAHANNA in the building. Our says, "Concert, which is so wicked, is that they still have to water the tree daily so that it doesn't dry out and catch on fire. Watering a dead tree is wicked."
Yeah, it's vanity. There's no point. You're watering a dead tree. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
Officer Zion checked in. He right here in the building.
Oh, shout out to Officer Zion in the building, in the flesh. You know what I'm saying? It's a lock here. All right, where we at? Jeremiah 49:16.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49 and verse 16. Thy terribleness hath deceived thee, and the pride of thine heart.
Night. Oh, it's a lot to unpack there. A whole lot to unpack there. All right. But we've been talking about the Spanish Inquisition all day, the history of it, right? And we see who's responsible for not just, the Inquisition in Europe, but the transatlantic slave trade and all the horrors and ills that befell God's chosen people, okay? At that point in time in history. So you said, thy what?
Thy terribleness hath deceived thee.
I'm reading about all those torture techniques and devices. That's absolutely terrible to read about them. Hair on my neck standing up. It's blood curdling to read about some of the devices that were actually used on human beings. On God's chosen people. We'll just say that, all right? On Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, all right? Thy terribleness hath what?
have deceived thee.
Right?
The pride of thine heart.
Is the pride of whose heart? The oppressor's heart, right? The oppressor is a very prideful bastard. I mean, to think the Roman Catholic Church did this on the strength of them wanting to promote their belief or their ideology with respect to Roman Catholicism. This is the reason why we say Christianity is white supremacy. It promotes and perpetuates the lies of white supremacy. It has nothing at all to do with the Bible and what's actually denoted via scripture. Everything that the Catholic Church stands for is a lie. And the churches of Christendom, over 42,000 different denominations globally, they fall underneath the Roman Catholic Church. They follow the Pope. Your pastor would not refuse the Pope from coming to his church. T.D. Jakes would never tell the Pope, hell nah, you can't come in here. He's going to kiss the ring of the Pope. All right? The Roman Catholic Church is the authority over Christianity, over the Christian church. Miss me with the whole crap about Martin Luther nailing whatever to the door of the church. That's a goddamn lie, all right? Even though it happened, Christian churches today still fall under the authority of the Roman Catholic Church, all right? Anyhow, keep reading.
And the pride of thine heart, O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock.
Who dwells within the cleft of the rock? Who is the cave dweller on earth? Who? Get that brother. Most High in Christ. Esau, the Edomites, right? That is the true troglodyte or the true cave dweller on earth. This is the reason why he builds skyscrapers. This is the reason why you see pictures of Hitler and he's in the Swiss Alps. He's up in the mountains. You know, he feels like him being up high gives him some sort of leverage over the people that he deems are beneath him. Okay? This is talking about the so-called oppressor. This is the spirit of the so-called white man or white society. This is the reason why you got skyscrapers in every major treasure city of America. Okay? All right, keep reading.
That holdest the height of the hill.
That's right, man. That was a game that we would always play. You know, King of the Hill. And that was all based off of white supremacy. Yeah, getting the high position, getting high ground. You the king of the hill if you got that high position. Okay? Keep reading.
Though thou shouldest make thy nest as high as the eagle.
Yeah, he thinks and he believes that because he can get higher than anyone else, that he has this high position that he can't be brought down. The pride of his heart, the pride of his mind. You think about what did the so-called oppressors say when he landed on the moon? The eagle has landed, right? You think about his flag or his standard. What is the bird of America?
The bald eagle.
Should be the damn turkey, as they were initially thinking, but it's the bald eagle. And you think about these regimes that are in rulership because of the oppressor, every one of them has a standard of the eagle, okay? And every one of them that has the standard of the eagle oppresses so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, all right? It says, though what?
Though thou shouldest maketh thy nest as high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Lord.
This is what the Most High Power says, all right? You can hang your hat on that if you're black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, all right? So regardless of what the oppressor does with respect to his positioning and him wanting to set his nest on high and him wanting to dwell in the cleft of the rock, it's all carnal. That's all carnality. And it's all vanity because it means nothing. You saw how those skyscrapers fell on 9/11. Right. It didn't take much but an airplane to drop both of them towers. Right. You better put your faith and your trust in the Most High Power, man. The God of this Bible, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, if you are black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. And you should give a damn about the Catholic Church. The Pope has zero power with respect to the Most High. Drop that. Give me Where we at?
Matthew 10 and 28.
8:57? Yeah, give me the book of Matthew. We'll do that.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 10 and verse 28. And fear not them which kill the body.
Do what?
And fear not them which kill the body.
See, we read about the Spanish Inquisition and, all the papal authority, and we didn't even talk about the papal Inquisition. I ain't even get into that, which is a whole nother form of persecution or time period where our people were killed within the earth at the hands of the oppressor. We're talking about the Spanish Inquisition, okay? Read it again.
And fear not them which kill the body.
So the whole purpose of this Inquisition, according to Ferdinand and Isabella, all these public showings of the brutality of what we can do to you because we have the power to do it, it means absolutely nothing in the sight of the Most High Power. This is the reason why it went on for over 1,000 years, is what it said, over a century. This is the reason why it continued to happen, because our people are resilient. Our people, we don't just give up when it comes down to things that absolutely matter. We hold true to the truth. We believe in the Most High, okay? And Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, to this very day, today, I have hope in our nation rising up again. This is the reason why we say Kwam Yasha Allah, okay? Meaning that our nation of Israel will arise again, all right? This is the importance of every priest, of every prophet, of every sister, every trooper, every young man that comes into the school. You are helping to rebuild the nation of Israel. You're helping to rebuild the kingdom of heaven, which is going to be here on the earth. Are we proving to the Most High that we're ready for him to return? That we're ready for his form of government? What are you doing every day to prove that you love the Most High Power? If you're celebrating your birthday, you don't love the Lord. If you're sleeping with goddamn white women, you do not love the Lord. You don't. If you chose to sleep with white women all weekend, whereas to come in and stand outside of a camp, that's on you. The Most High knows. You can 22 fake me all you want, but the truth is going to come out, all right? And in the end, you're going to have to stand before the Most High and make an account for the things that you did. You were offered the kingdom, but you chose what? Carnality? You chose to be weak? Read that again.
And fear not them which kill the body.
Yeah, we don't give a damn about the Roman Catholic Church. We don't give a damn about the CIA or the FBI. We're law-abiding. We keep all the laws of the land, and we do you one better. We level you up. We keep the laws of the Bible. We keep the laws of God in the Israelite school, universal practical knowledge, man. We don't fear what man can do to us in this place. This is the reason why we speak so fervently. This is why we speak with an air of confidence and truth, all right? Because we don't care what man can do. Keep reading.
But are not able to kill the soul.
Read it one more time.
But are not able to kill the soul.
From the top. Read it from the top.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 10, and verse 28. And fear not them which kill the body.
Right.
But are not able to kill the soul. But rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell.
So the so-called oppressor, Ferdinand and Isabella, the Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, the CIA, the FBI, every major police, municipality, they have the ability to kill your body, but they don't have the ability to kill your soul, to kill your spirit, all right? It says, but what?
But are not able to kill the soul.
Right.
But rather fear him, which is able to destroy both.
You better have some fear for him that has the ability not just to kill your body, but to destroy your soul. To destroy your soul, man. And that's the Most High Power, whose name is Yahweh. Put some respect on that name. All right. In the Roman Catholic Church, the Christian Church, the Muslim mosque, they're not teaching you the true name of God. They're not teaching you the true name of the God of the Bible, all right? But you're learning that here in the Israelite school, universal practical knowledge. and it absolutely means something. All right? Is that it on that?
Kind of a con.
Most High in Christ. And with that, that's my time, man. We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, coming out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. And if you're not in the I.S.U.P.K. under Commanding General YAHANNA, you are not in the truth, all right? And who am I pass the class to? Salakia. I'm going to pass the class off to my other one, Zion YAHAWADAH. You are YAHAWADAH, right? I think you bought Yamya.
I.S.U.P.K. security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K. Start at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Operating under Commanding General YAHANNA. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They're here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to the brother or sister. After this 6 months, which your brother and sister will get permission to court each other. After this 6-month period, brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. TITHES, which is a commandment, Numbers 18 and 21, Malachi 3, verses 8 through 10. Ma'ashirah means 10th in the Hebrew, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department or teacher, priest fund. Free will offering is not mandatory, but whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocation is the Feast of Dedication, the Feast of Hanukkah. We're looking at, what's that, December the 7th, right?
I got it right there.
Yeah, December the 7th. Yeah, December the 7th. You can find it in the classes all throughout the school. If anyone wants to be a trooper, start wearing all black, boots, shirts, pants, headbands, and scarf. And with that, men of Israel, Amadium. We want to render one courteous salute to the teacher, men of Israel. Amam Shabbat. Barak. Yahweh Shem Yahweh means hands down. Sar means just turn. We want to render one courteous salute to the sisters, men of Israel. Amadim Shabbat. Barak. Yahweh Shema Latah Ba'Shem Yahushua. Yahweh hands down, class dismissed.
Half my damn precepts. Half Shock G's precepts. Oh man, I had a whole video I was gonna show y'all.
Man, teach that thing, bro. Teach, bro.
Yeah, most
I don't know where it's coming from, man. We ain't making this shit up.
Straight up.
We ain't making it up, man. It's the truth.
Straight up.